Hi guys! So obviously I'm not here today, which I'm sure is making you very sad. It's making me very sad too. But I wanted to leave you with this trusty video so that you don't have to be without my wonderful instruction even though I'm not there. So class is going to run pretty similarly today than it normally would. So you should have gotten the green sheet from the tray, and if you haven't already done that, you also should have gotten one of the blue textbooks because you'll need that a little bit towards the end. So if you haven't done that yet, go do that right now. And if you have done it, you'll want to take out your green vocab sheet to help you with the bell work today, which is going to be the front of this paper. It looks like this. And what you're going to be doing is using your vocab sheet and the phrases that you looked up yesterday. You are going to translate these phrases as best you can using that sheet. So now that you're done translating, let's take a look at the answers and make sure that this is what you have or close to what you have. So the very first one can really be translated in a couple of different ways. You may translate it as how much are the whatever item you're talking about, which in this case is binoculars, right? It literally translates to these cost how much, but you can translate to these are how much. It's the same thing. So the rest of them, we've got a little too expensive, on sale. It's on sale for €50. That's a good deal. Bon marché can mean well priced or inexpensive. I'm not quite sure how you guys may have written that down, but both of them are basically the same meaning, totally work out the same. And then il coûte combien, again, similar to number one, it means how much are the, or this is how much, or this costs how much. And then down here, in French, you're literally saying, I don't know what to choose. But in English, we would probably say, I don't know what to pick. Either one, same thing. I'm fine with however you translated that. So just to double check, let's look at our vocab sheet and make sure that all of the phrases we wrote down yesterday are the phrases that we have on our sheet. So, like I told you, elle coûte combien. Just make sure with this one that whatever you're asking about, you use the right subject pronoun. If the item you're talking about is masculine, you need to say il. If it's feminine, you need to say elle. And then the same is going to be true for when you're talking about whether things are on sale. Depending on what you're talking about, you have to use il or elle, singular or plural, and then you need to make the word sale match with the item. So if it's a feminine item, you'd have to add an extra E. If it's multiple items, you need to add the extra S. It won't change pronunciation, which we'll go over on Monday, but still good to know. So like I said, bon marché can be well priced or inexpensive, and this is never going to change when you use it. So if you're talking about one thing, 20 things, feminine things, masculine things, it's always going to look like this. But cher, our word for expensive, is going to change depending on whether it's masculine or feminine. And the feminine one ends in an E, but you also have to add an accent grave over the first E. So down here, pretty self-explanatory. Everything sort of goes together. This one might be a little strange for you. Je peux vous montrer, it's kind of like when salespeople are really trying to upsell you stuff. It's like, oh, can I show you this? Can I show you this? To make you try and buy more stuff. So it's one you'll want to use in skits or things like that. But it's also one you want to make sure that if you go to France and they're trying to sell you stuff, just say no. They can't show you all these things. So everyone have this on their vocab sheet. If you don't, you should be copying it down. Feel free to pause here so that you can keep these words up for a little bit, give them some time to copy it down, or we can move on to the next thing if you guys are all done. All right, so the big thing we're going to be talking about today are numbers. And we've learned numbers up through 100 pretty much already, but I put up here a little bit of a cheat sheet because I know that numbers are not always everybody's favorite. 1 through 60 is pretty similar but to English, but then once we hit 70, that's where things start getting a little weird, right? You have to start saying 60-10, so then 71 becomes 60-11, 72 becomes 60-12, and then we get to 80 where it's 4 20s because that makes sense. And you have to keep adding up, so the 90 becomes 4 20 10, 91 4 20 11. I know it's strange, but you kind of get used to it. So today we're going to actually learn how to talk about things more than 100. And the reason we need to do this is we learned in our culture sheet a while ago that the CFA, which is the money, or the monetary form that they use in Africa, is the way the exchange rate works and just the way that their money works everything starts out being almost $1,000 or more, 1,000 CFAs, I should say, or more. So when you're doing this chapter, when you're talking about how much things are going to cost, if you're talking in CFAs, you're going to have to be able to use words like 1,000 and even up to 1,000,000. And it sounds crazy. Like, why would we buy binoculars that are $40,000? But that's not how it's actually, that's not what it really means. That just means like $40 to us. So the word cent is our word for 100, right? And so if I want to just add numbers to that, I literally just add them onto the word 100. So if I want to say 101, I just say 101. If I want to say 140, I would just say 100 and then 40. If I want to say 190, I would say 190. So you just you literally write the words that you would say out loud when you're saying what the number is. So in our example down here, you can see that our number is 1,047. Now you might be like, no, that says 1.047, but they switch the use of the comma and the period. So like for us, this says 1.047, but for them, this is 1,047. If they wanted it to be a decimal point, it would be a comma. So get used to seeing that because you'll see it a lot. So like I said, out loud, I said 1,047. So I use the word for 1,000, which is mille, and then I use the word for 40, and then I use the word for 7. And it seems simple, and it is, but that's what you're going to do the numbers. So the hard part is just remembering what each individual number is. So every time you come up to a 90, you have to write 90, or if you come up to 99, 99. It's long, but it's totally doable, and I know you guys can handle this while I'm gone. I 100% believe that. So our new words are going to be the word mille, which is the word for 1,000. I know it sounds like it's close to million, but just wait. The word for million is million. So that's really nice. The only weird thing here is that the word for 1,000 is just mille. You don't have to say a mille. You just say mille by itself. And it never changes. So for instance, when I'm talking about multiple hundreds, like when I say 200, I have to add an S to cent. We can see that right here. But when I'm talking about million, I just always say mille by itself. No S's, no nothing. It just stays as the word mille. The word million, like I said, is million. Great. Cognate, same word, good to go. And this one's similar to 100. If I'm talking about multiple millions, I'm going to add an S to the word millions. Now, this is the weird part. I only add an S if that's the last word in my number. So if I was going to say, I won $3 million, I would say 3 millions dollars, and I'd put an S there. But if I was going to say I won $3,100,000, then I'd have to say 3 millions cent, and I don't put the S because another number comes after that. If that's weird for you, don't worry too much about it. We'll talk about it on Monday. It's not a huge deal if you forget the S because they'll still know what you're talking about. So let's take a look at our bottom, the bottom section here where we're going to do some number practices. So I put some easy numbers in here that we already know, like 88, 76, 64, because we haven't done numbers in a long time, and I know a lot of you guys may not remember these. So 88, and again, you're just doing what you're saying out loud. So we have to go back here, look up to 80, which is 80, but don't put the S, because we only put the S if that's the last number. Right, so we've got 80, and then we need a word for 8, which is wheat. So it looks like that. Great. Now I'm going to make you do 2,567,499. I know, I'm really nice. So, like I told you, you're going to just write it out, everything you would say out loud. So you should write 2 million. French word for 2. French word for million, which is the same. Then you should write out 500. So find the French word for 5, French word for 100. Then you write 67, and then the word 1,000. Don't worry, I am going to show you the answer, but I want you to try it for yourself first. Then you write 400, and then you write our favorite number, 99. There's a lot of 90s in this. I did that on purpose because it will help you. You're welcome. So hopefully right now you have written 2,567,499. If it looks like they're still writing, feel free to pause here, give them some more time to write this down, because this is a great number. Otherwise, let's take a look at what that looks like, because that number is crazy. it should look like this. So like I told you, you're going to say 2,567,000. Oh, look at this. I actually have a typo in here. Huh, that's funny. It is 3 in the morning, so that makes sense. Okay, so see, I can make mistakes too. It's okay. It's like first time for everybody. So we've got 2,567,499. That one's super long, as you know. So the one question you may have is, when do I put in the dash, like I have right here, and when don't I? I'm going to try and explain this. It may not sound super great right now, and I might have to just explain this to you on Monday, because I don't know if I can do this really well without like showing you things. But the dash is needed with numbers that if you took the dash, like if you took the number apart, it no longer is the number you want. So what I mean by that is, right now, I want to have the word 2 and then I want to have the word million. But when I get to the word 67, I don't want to have, like 67 is a number all by itself, right? It's 67,000. I need to have 67 together, because if I took them apart, then I'd just be saying the number 60 and the number 7,000, and that's not the number I want. I want the number 67,000. Maybe 99 is a better example. Actually, yes, it probably is. If I took the dashes out, what I'd end up saying would be 4, 20, 10, 9. Now, although altogether that comes out to be 99, if you multiply them and then add them, but when you take out the dashes, now you're just saying random numbers as opposed to saying an entire number, because 80 together is the number 80, 19 together is the number 19, and then the number 80 and 19 together equals 99, so you have to have them all together. That might have been weird and confusing, and if it was, don't worry too much about the dashes, we'll go over them on Monday. But what I want you to do right now is try to finish all the rest of the numbers on the sheet. Use the cheat sheet part up at the top. Use this for anything you need. Ask your neighbor if you need some help, and then we're going to go over those in just a little bit. All right, the app that I'm using to record this video only lets me record 15 minutes at a time, and we're almost there. So here are the answers. Yay! Pause if you need to double check. You probably do, so I would pause here, take a minute, and then we'll go over the bottom ones. One thing I want to draw attention to real quick in this top section is, like I said before, for some reason with the word million, you do not need to use the number 1. To them, the word mille means, or I'm sorry, 1,000. To them, the word mille means 1,000. So you don't have to say un mille, you can just say 1984. All right? Awesome. Hopefully you're done checking these. We're gonna head down to the next section. It's gonna look like this. There's a lot going on here, but I know you can handle it. So let's double check these. I probably should have said you might want to pause here. I would probably pause here. I kind of forgot that. Whoopsies. All right, so the last thing I want you guys to do is to open up your blue books to page 237. Got that here. Opening your books to page 237. And the directions are all in French, and you're gonna freak out and tell me you can't do it because you don't know how to read it. You do, but just to be safe, I'm gonna give you the directions in English to make sure you know what you're doing. So you're gonna work with a partner or by yourself if you prefer. I don't care. To write a conversation between a salesperson and a customer, where the customer is asking the prices of all of the items in the picture. So you can see here, picture in here. And the salesperson is going to answer with the prices. And then you have to have the customer decide which item, the directions get cut off, there we go, which item they want to buy. So, like I told you, the CFAs in Africa, their exchange rate is very interesting and just the way their money works. So everything is in the thousands. So these numbers are large on purpose so that you can practice large numbers. That's the goal. So you should be just doing this on a piece of paper. I am going to collect these on Monday, so I'm going to read them, so please try here and make it good. But this will be due at the end of class, this will be due on Monday, and after this, if you have anything left over that you didn't finish from yesterday, you can do that. Otherwise, I will see you guys on Monday. I hope this went okay.